Guys, George and I are thoroughly excited because we finally get to talk about something that we both are very passionate about, and that is the NFL, because training camps have kicked off.
And here I'm cutting Kevin off just to let all you assholes know college football starts August 29th.
Right.
That's only 16 days after the only important day in August besides my wife's birthday.
It's his birthday. And the NFL Hall of Fame game is this upcoming Sunday. It's a week from today.
Yeah, so buddy. And old Stitchback thinks he wants to play. He got a fucking cyst removed from his back talking about, I'm going to play. Jason Garrett's like, nay.
I've had one of those. I think George showed you, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had him removed from my arm.
I've had one removed from my back and stuff. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could see that could be kind of fucked up trying to throw a ball off the stitches. You know what I mean? Because you have to do those internal stitches. So I don't know what Romo's thinking. I would just fucking chill out.
I would too. But yeah, I think he's starting to feel the pressure. He just got that fat contract. Donovan was like, really? You got that? What have you done?
I know. I tell you another thing.
All that was eat Campbell's chunky soup and lose playoff games.
Who? McNabb?
Yeah, McTrash.
Let's roll right into McNabb. Since you're a big Eagles fan, McNabb is officially going to retire as the Eagle tomorrow. What do you think about that?
He should. I mean, and to be honest, I think when it comes down to it, when the Hall of Fame voting, McNabb might one day get in. Because if you look at the guy's numbers, you didn't win the Super Bowl, but you don't always have to win a Super Bowl to get into the Hall of Fame. I think he did a hell of a job in resurrecting the Eagles. Because if you look at the Eagles pre-McNabb, and then during the McNabb era, I think him and Andy Reid made a great combo for a long time.
The Eagles under Reid and McNabb had the best run they've ever had. Ever. I mean, he
was 92, 49, and 1 as a quarterback for the Eagles. 92 wins as a quarterback in the NFL is a shit ton.
Yeah, 1 Super Bowl appearance and 5 NFC Championship appearances in an 8-year span, I believe. I mean, that's crazy. Like, you look at that, you look at someone else who's a great quarterback, like Dan Marino, who never won a quarterback. I mean, obviously, McNabb's numbers are not what Marino's are.
Wait. What did Dan Marino never win?
A Super Bowl.
Okay, because I thought you said Dan Marino never won a quarterback. I'm like,
I did say that. I did say that because Dan Marino as a quarterback never won a Super Bowl, or as a wide receiver, or as anything else. But anyway, he never won a Super Bowl, but you can't take that away from Dan Marino's, ability on the football field. He was phenomenal.
Right. McNabb set Eagles franchise records with completions for 2,800, over 32,000 yards and over 200 passing touchdowns. I mean, I understand those are franchise records and not NFL records, but that's a hell of a body of work. I mean, if he gets into the Hall of Fame, great. If he doesn't, I mean, I guess I understand that as well because he doesn't have the Super Bowl to help. I think if he had at least 1 Super Bowl ring, I'm not saying he'd be a shoo-in, but I'd say he stands a pretty good shot.
He really does. I mean, I think if you go back and you look at all the, QBs that are currently in the Hall of Fame, I think that you would probably be easily able to find somebody that, McNabb is parallel to, that's on point with. I mean, it's just what he did for the Eagles franchise. And you can't say he did it single-handedly because obviously he had a great coach in Andy Reid, but he just, I mean, he was very mobile. He's one of the first quarterbacks that you saw consistently be able to use his footwork to win games and to propel the Eagles into championship games. And yeah, for his time, I think he was fucking great. I hated seeing him sitting, as being a Washington Redskin fan, I hated when we went up against Donovan McNabb because you felt like anytime one of your defensive linemen was getting close, he'd say, see ya, bye, and it was a wrap.
Dude, and I'm going to tell you that one, I don't know if that was a Monday night or a Sunday night game, but when you guys decided that covering Deshaun Jackson was not on the defense's thing to do, and that Bama, oh my God, it would look like a track meet. I think they scored 42 points against y'all that night. Yeah,
I mean, he really was. He was one of the quarterbacks that you saw, you saw these mobile quarterbacks that, obviously were mobile and then they went to the legs first and passing second. McNabb was a pass first guy. Then he used his legs. And not only that, he had success doing it for a long time, And you saw a lot of quarterbacks that they 2 or 3 years of success and they faded and went away and they retired. No one ever heard anything else about him. But I do think he's worthy of being a Hall of Fame player. I definitely think so. I know you'd like to see him being an Eagles fan.
Well, speaking of other quarterbacks and who a lot of folks feel that is the number 1 quarterback in the NFL right now, but he's been kind of silent, in my opinion, in the playoffs as of late, is Aaron Rodgers. And it seems that him and Greg Jennings just didn't get along, and now it's gotten to the point where Greg Jennings' coach has stepped in and be like, dude, really cool it.
Yeah. I mean, like Leslie Frazier's a class act, the coach for the Minnesota Vikings, and he's just like, okay, you know what, man? I don't want to hear about Aaron Rodgers. He's not a Minnesota Viking. I want to hear about, if we want to hear about some news, it's going to be the Minnesota Vikings. You know what I'm saying? Not about the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. And I think one thing I will say about Aaron Rodgers, the whole thing with Ryan Braun, him saying, I'll bet my year paycheck that Ryan Braun is clean, and that kind of backfired in his face. I think right now, Aaron Rodgers.
The Hebrew Hammer's dirty as shit.
You said what?
The Hebrew Hammer's dirty as shit.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of that, real quick, did you see the woman who showed up to the Brewers game with a Braun jersey on and might have modified the jersey to read fraud? Did you see that?
It said what?
She took Braun, instead of saying Braun on the back, she put basically taped letters over the back so it read fraud instead of Braun.
Right.
The security in Milwaukee came and escorted her out of the stadium.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I'm like, for what? How? What do you do? I wouldn't have left. They'd had to call the real police on me. My ignorant ass, I'd have sat right in my seat. I'm like, she was standing in line to get food. Before, as the game was getting ready to start, they came over to her and said, you have to leave.
I would have fought the fuck out of that because, people can do what the fuck they want to. They're fans, they're paying for a fucking ticket, then they should be able to wear the fucking jersey.
Exactly.
It's not any profanity. It's not something that a kid is going to say. It's not a bad example. It's actually the truth.
Yeah, and now I understand that the stadium could technically be declared private property and laws on that property, take jurisdiction over, normal laws first. But I mean, but still, if there's no rule when I'm coming in telling me what I can and cannot wear, it's not going to incite a riot. It's not inappropriate. It's not a foul word. I mean, I didn't get it. Dude, if I was her, I'd sue him.
Yeah, I would be fucking pissed.
As much as I hate that. I hate when people sue over dumb shit. But to throw me out because I have fraud written on the back of my jersey?
Well, my whole thing is that I'd be like, okay, I want to be reimbursed for what I spent.
Oh, easily. I mean, supposedly they gave her an apology. I would tell them to eat my ass and send me some bread.
Yeah, give me an apology with a check for ticketing on my time, to come to the fucking game. Yeah, that's fucked up. But anyway, moving on to
injuries.
Injury bug already, and that it seems like every year it happens quicker and quicker and quicker, and it's happened for your squad right now, and it sucks because one of
the leading receiver, the receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles last year, who led in every single category, reception, yards, touchdowns, because Deshaun Jackson was whining like a little girl. It was Macklin. Macklin tore his ACL in what they said is almost 7 days to the year he did it in Missouri. To be honest, I'm not too worried about it. I mean, yes, it hurts to lose a weapon like that, but I think wide receiver and running back, in my opinion, are the most interchangeable positions in the NFL. I mean, you just bring in the next guy, you slot him in, and I think you can look at running backs and see that. I mean, look at Alfred Morris was a 6th-round pick.
You really do. I mean, I think definitely running back first. I think wide receiver second. I mean, it's. Obviously you gotta know how to run routes. It's a little bit more, I think, involved with the wide receiver. But I think the fact that it's never a good time, but the fact that now a young receiver can come in under, Kelly's system and learn it probably, pretty quick. I mean, as fast as Macklin.
The worst part about it to me is feeling for Macklin. It was his contract year. This was his year to go and put on a show. And earn a big contract, which, I mean, because he's still playing out his rookie contract. That's a 5-year one. So it's unfortunate because he's going to have no leverage coming to the table. Right.
Yeah. He's going to have absolutely no leverage. And then the thing is like everybody's going to be like, okay, I mean, he's going to go into new contract negotiations and nobody seeing him even being on the football field after this injury too. That's going to double wham him. It's going to hurt him.
It sucks. It's not a good situation. But to me, the team that got hurt worse yesterday was the Ravens. They lost their number 1 tight end in Pitta. He dislocated his hip and had surgery last night too. That was Flacco's number 1 target in all of the playoffs last year.
It really was. I mean, their combination, QB to tight end combination was great, and that hurts him. And it's hard to come in and get a good tight end to replace it. Basically a pretty much a Pro Bowl tight end. You're right about that. That really hurts him. And I don't know what they're going to do with that. I mean, I think the Ravens are,
The one thing that they do have, who I think is maybe hands down maybe not the number one, but easily the top 3 GM in all of NFL is Ozzie Newsome.
Yeah, he's great.
I mean,
and he was a tight end.
The man has done phenomenal things in the draft. He's stayed there. He's built a team. He hasn't bounced around. So, I mean, if anyone's going to help him get out of this or go find a player they can plug in and get results out of, I think it's going to be Ozzie. And I think they're going to end up being okay because, like you said, if you're going to lose one of your quality players, it's better to do it now than to do it midway through the season. Because now you can try to look at what you have. They can evaluate their next tight ends and see if they need to go outside and get someone else, or maybe they need to convert a fullback, or maybe a Tim Tebow will nut up and play a different position besides, and you get those things.
No. And Ozzie Newsome, obviously that was the position he played in the NFL, so he probably has a good feel for what he needs, and he can probably, scout out a good, or see somebody that's in camp that is best suited to replace Pitta. Now, there's been some other minor injuries in the NFL. Pierre-Paul for the Giants, he's back to about 75%. And then you had, somebody else, that was hurt. Arian Foster strained his calf the other day in practice. And they think he's going to be back.
He cannot stay healthy, dude.
I know. It's certain people, George, there's certain people that, like, if I saw someone strain their calf, I'd be like, okay, like if it was any other running back, it's a calf strain or whatever. You think, okay, they'll probably be out for a couple practices, maybe a preseason game. When I hear someone like Arian Foster, I immediately think, okay, this is probably going to be something that's going to fuck with him the whole season, because that's how it's been in the past.
Yeah, because he had a hamstring issue last year, and I don't think he wasn't there to week 3 or 4. I don't think he started the season last year, did he? With his hamstring?
I don't think he did, and I think it was something that was hampering him the whole season. It kept coming back, like, okay, he's got to sit out, and with these kind of injuries, being a running back where you need explosive power and it's quick, it's about your 40 and everything. It's like, okay, you're cutting, you're moving, you're accelerating really quick. You start thinking, okay, how much time I'm going to need to properly let this heal?
Yeah, because he seems to be injury prone, and he takes a little while longer to get back.
Now, maybe these guys need some fucking HGH to help them with the healing process, and that seems to be the new thing everybody's talking about. The big news about the HGH was basically Adrian Peterson coming out and saying, you know what? He knows there's a bunch of players out there using HGH, and he wants a test because obviously everybody was calling Purple Jesus and saying he probably used HGH to help speed up his recovery when he came off of his injury last year.
Right.
That's interesting that he just came straight out and said it. And there was 2 other guys, Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton and Steve Smith. They were also 2 players that were big about saying, yeah, we'd like to see them test HGH. Now, taking nothing away from these guys, obviously, if I'm a player in the NFL and someone talks to me about it, I'm going to say, oh yeah, I want to see. I'm not going to say I don't want to see them have a test for HGH, because everybody's going to be like, oh, Kevin White's probably using it. You know what I mean? Yep. My answer is always going to be, yes, I definitely want to see a test. But I think Adrian Peterson took it a little bit further, because he's I think he's saying, you see some of these players, he made the statement like, hey, they're trying to make a living, they're trying to support their families, and they're going to do whatever they can to get an edge, so they can get that fat paycheck, so they can stay healthy, so they can get back on the football field as soon as possible, so they can hit their incentive bonus. So he was making a really good point, and he's thinking, okay, you know what? These could possibly be somebody, a player that could hurt me. Like, say if it's some other running back that edges him out for the rushing title, then he knows that he probably took HGH. Then Adrian Peterson's like, okay, I'm completely natural, and I want to know that everybody else that I'm competing against is completely natural. So,
now, with what Kevin just said, with this whole Ryan Braun, the reason I'm bringing Braun up is because he just got a 65-game suspension from the major leagues. He's done for the rest of the year. This cryogenesis lab or whatever, this youth clinic down in Miami. And finally, one of the news people said what I think Kevin and I have thought and brought up and said for the longest time. Do you take the chance at a long-term risk, i.e. getting caught, maybe some adverse effects, who knows, for the short-term gain? And in Ryan Braun's case, it was, $65 million up front? So if I inject myself with these drugs, play 1 year, and no one's really caught me yet, and the next year they're going to tell me I'm going to give you $65 million on top, and then on top of that I'm going to extend your contract. Do you take that risk? Finally, a reporter said, is the risk worth the reward? I mean, put it this way, do you give a shit? I mean, if you just made $65 million, do you ever care if you make it to the Hall of Fame? Like, are you really that worried about it? Because I'm going to let you know, George Bedford, this guy right here, if you told me you play 1 year, you do drugs, you're not going to get caught. Next year, we're going to give you a fat contract, and then we're going to see if we can catch you. Sign me up, shorty. Sign me the fuck up.
I think most people at the end of the day are going to go the same route that you did. You know, I mean, I look at Jarvis Jenkins, who's a lineman for the Washington Redskins. He just got a 4-day suspension. You're seeing a lot of these guys getting these 4-game suspensions.
Though, wasn't it?
Huh?
His was for weed.
Was it? I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure his was for weed, which to me makes no fucking sense. I don't want to get
stupid.
that high.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe you're right.
40,000, 50,000, 104. I mean, 4 game checks. He's missing 4 game checks for weed.
Yeah.
And I've never smoked weed that good.
Take your bag of weed and put that 4-game paycheck in that bag and realize, okay, it has to be, it doesn't matter if the weed was good or not. It became the best weed you ever bought in your life because that's how much that shit cost you.
Right.
You know?
So,
that shit is the super duper chronic.
I don't know what that kid's making, but
super,
that shit better suck my dick. That's how good. I better get so high, I better bust a nut when I'm done. I mean, even then, it ain't worth $500,000.
It better make you so high that at least you feel like you're getting head. Something.
It better. I mean, how much money? That's insane. That's just absolutely insane to me.
No, I don't get it. I really don't get it.
I wouldn't give up $50 to smoke weed. That's how cheap I am.
Yeah, I can't see it. Now, I know the substance abuse where it actually is going to translate to your ability to play on the football field. I can see that. I see why guys do that. I see why the guys were taking the Adderall and the stuff that keeps you focused, the CBs especially, because, you know, playing that position as a corner or any type of defensive back, you know, trying to keep up with a guy while you're running backwards and staying focused on the quarterback simultaneously to know where he's moving or where the ball is possibly going to go is fucking a hard thing to do.
Well, the other one that a lot of these guys take is Viagra.
Yeah.
Because it's a vasodilator and it helps. And a lot of people don't believe me when I say that. I'm like, yeah. It's just a vasodilator. That's all it is.
Yeah. You know, so I mean, it's, you know, and all these, and the thing is, and I think the bodybuilding community and these guys, a lot of people are being trained. You're watching even Hollywood, you know, celebrities, you're watching football players. A lot of them are trained by people that were former bodybuilders or so. The bodybuilding community, that is such a culture sport, and they are always, I say literally 7 to 10 years ahead of the curve. Like, they know everything that's going to make you perform better. I mean, put on muscle, speed, everything. They are always ahead of the game. Because they're basically, I mean, you got to be almost a scientist to compete in that sport.
Yeah.
You really do. Anyway, man, we're going to wrap it up. Everybody tell us your...
Hold on. I got one more thing. Today, which is Sunday, what is it? Whatever day it is. The Eagles...
Sunday.
The big, I'm going to just real quick, I'm going to touch on this because I want your opinion. The Eagles normally move their camp out to Lehigh. This year they kept it in the city. Today, Sunday, they're having an open practice at the link. And instead, I'm here with you. They gave away 65,000 tickets to this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 65,000 plus are going to show up at the link today to watch the Eagles practice. With that said, do you think that's a good thing? And would you like to see your favorite team do it? Keep the practice in home so you could go to it. Would you go to a practice? And now, Kevin, with the wow, I had to hold that back because I was going to get in trouble for that. Dan Snyder, would you want to see him move the guys back? And would you go to a practice if somebody gave you a ticket to watch in FedEx?
No.
So you like what he does?
I like the old skins, like when the camp was, it was back in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. When Gibbs was now the camp is in Ashburn, Virginia, but, it used to be in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And, I thought that all your locals, not too many people made that trip all the way out to Carlisle. Now, all these NFL training camps have become like a circus, and then you got Hard Knocks and you have all that shit. And I think to some degree, it can become a distraction because there's so much media there. You know,
right.
and there's people there and you know, the media thinks, okay, you know, if we can't get exclusive interviews with the football players, we can talk to the fans that are here to see the football players. And it just becomes a media frenzy. And it's like, I feel like the team that I root for, I want them to probably be more focused. And I think a lot of, you know, I think a lot of fans would probably agree with me. You know, I don't have any interest in watching them play in training camp. I just never have had an interest in that. You know, I never have had an interest in driving out the car. And I don't feel like it's not because I'm not supporting the team that I root for. It's just that I feel like, okay, this is their time to prepare for the football season. Leave them the fuck alone, you know? And, but, you know, now with social media and everything, everybody's climbing up these athletes' ass 24/7. And if they have any more access to them, then people take advantage of it. And obviously the younger people that watch the show or the younger fans of the NFL are growing up in a generation where they're used to this, so they probably enjoy going out to the camps and doing this. I'd
be interested to see the financial hit that Carlisle took when he moved him.
Oh, I mean, it fucking crushed them.
Yeah, it's
you know. I mean,
anyway,
it's not a big town, huh?
I said anyway.
Anyway, we're out of here. Everybody, leave your comments below. And on that note, deuces.
That's
Later.
2 hours. That's